Good morning. I am going to do a talk off this morning on the King's Speech. My main objective point for the King's Speech is the Duke of York has fear and speaks with a stammer. I believe that his background has everything to do with him speaking with a stammer. He had kind of a rough upbringing, I feel. He was born into a royal family, a white royal family. He was the second born male, so initially he was not the first to the throne, but as the Duke of York, if something happened to his brother prior to having children, then he was next to the throne. I feel that his entire life was run by fear, and that fear is what made him stutter. That fear stemmed from so many things that happened to him as a young child. He was required to speak publicly, which he hated doing. The king was very hard on him and yelled at him quite frequently to just read, just do it, stop your stuttering. And the king himself actually teased his son about his stammering and encouraged the other kids to tease him as well, which is not kind at all. I believe that they had very high expectations for the Duke of York because they are a royal family. There are many, many expectations that you and I as normal folk will never understand. He was punished quite a bit for weird things. He had to put braces on his legs because of the way his leg was, or he was born left-handed, and of course that was not proper. You had to be right-handed, so he was punished and forced to use his right hand when that wasn't even normal for him. And worst of all, that contributed to his stammering and his fears is what happened to him as a child with his nanny. When she had him, she would pinch him so he would cry, and then would be angry at him because he cried, and due to that, she would punish him and then not feed him for days. That was so alarming to me. So all of the things that I mentioned definitely contributed to the way the Duke of York, or Prince Albert, was in the story, and why he speaks with a stammer. Now, because he speaks with a stammer, there's a lot of things that came out of that. I feel like he has given up because he had tried to get so much help with different speech therapists that nothing could fix it. And he even said once, "No one can fix this." So I feel like he kind of gave up. And what I found interesting for myself is that I say that one of the causes of his stammering was that his dad was so cruel to him and yelled at him, but also that is an effect of his stammering too. Because he stammered, his dad yelled at him to knock it off and just do it, and made him feel very unappreciated. Because he stammers, he tries so many different therapies. At the beginning of the movie, when they put those sterilized marbles in his mouth and expected him to speak, I totally thought he was going to choke. Totally unethical kind of a practice, I think. I don't know. But he has tried many different kinds of therapies, and nothing has worked until now. His wife finds Lionel Logue, which, because of the accent in the movie, I could not figure out what his name was. Anyway, she finds him, and he is this commoner who has a great way of listening and finding out what's really causing the speech impediment and trying to work with it. And he really doesn't have even any education in it, which is great that his wife did that for him. I feel also that the Duke is very angry because of what has happened in his life and because of his fears and his stammering. He's a very angry man, and he gets angry very quickly. And he doesn't have any friends. Like, people look at him like he has one eye or he's this flying monster. But because of his fears and because of his speech impediment, he's become, his wife and his kids are his life, and his extended family in his possibility of being the king career, that is what drives him. Not he doesn't have friends. He doesn't socialize, and obviously because of his speech impediment, he is afraid to speak publicly. And unfortunately for him, that is something that is necessary, especially when his father dies and his brother takes over as king and then is dethroned. So then the Duke does become king, and therefore then his job is to do public speaking, and he is completely afraid of that. One of the points that I made was what emotional abuse can do to a person and how it haunts them for the rest of their lives. I feel that emotional and physical abuse, along with neglect, that nanny was horrible, and look what it did to this man and what happened in his life because of it. And why it's relevant to me is obviously I'm going to be a mandated reporter as a teacher in a school system, and there are going to be many kids that come to me emotionally abused, neglected. I need to report it, and also help them find help, proper people to talk to so that they can overcome. And I wrote down in my questions, are royal families really this strict and cold? I found it very unnerving that when the king died, there was very little emotion by the queen, and she wouldn't even hug her son who was crying. So in reality, are royal families that cold? Are they that strict where they have to be punished if they are born left-handed? So those are my questions. Have a great day.